What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Defi Dentist. And this is going to be a continuation video from a story that I started today when I was doing a root canal. And I saw a tweet by Vitalik, and I always love listening to this guy, seeing what he has to say. And he wrote a blog post called The End of My Childhood. So I'm going to go through that right now. There's quite a bit of great, deep information. This guy's a great writer, very thoughtful, but more importantly, he actually makes a list of the relevant main characters and the characters that are no longer relevant in crypto. So this is actually really important if you want to do some good research. And I just thought I'd break this down real quick because I've been in the game long enough to recognize some of these names, and I just want to go through it real quick just to kind of reflect and look into what he thinks. Because remember, this guy, so he wrote this book, right? This is his book. He's the one who basically made Ethereum go from mining using hardware and all this stuff on proof of work algorithms. That's the mining algorithm, where it would be very energy intensive. And then he went and he transitioned it to proof of stake, which is just a different way of securing the blockchain. But what he did there was he really revolutionized the way that blockchains can have a strong security model while also not being so expensive and energy intensive, better for the environment, things like that. So anyway, he wrote this blog post called The End of My Childhood. And so we'll just take a look at that here, where he really talks about just some of the memories that he had as he was, because remember, this is the founder of Ethereum. He actually used to work on the Bitcoin blockchain. So he used to be one of their developers, but he got in a disagreement over a couple of things, which he basically said, look, I'll just create a new blockchain, call it Ethereum. This was, I believe they ICO'd back initial coin offering. This is when a founder, a developer wants to raise money for a new project. They'll actually get you to donate cryptocurrency so that they can offer you the new coin that they're building on the new blockchain. And so Ethereum came out around 2015. And ever since, it's really been the platform to build on. It is DeFi. So we're going to go through a little bit of this, but I thought it was really interesting just to get his thoughts. But right down here, he talks about the big changes that we just went through during this crypto bear market. And so he's talking about who's still a main character and who's not, who's no longer a main character. So I'm actually going to go through the no longer main characters anymore, just to kind of, give you guys a little bit of background, because some of you may not be familiar with this because you might not have been there. Okay. So some of these guys, I wasn't even there, right? Like they were there long before, like near the inception of Bitcoin is when some of these people were here. So Mark Carpelli. So this dude, he was the Mt. Gox guy. So back in the day, you couldn't really buy Bitcoin very easily. So you had to go to these websites, and one of them was Mt. Gox, and Mt. Gox got hacked. This was like a long time ago. And Mt. Gox still plagues the industry today because they're still kind of dumping Bitcoin every now and then, or at least they threaten to. But yeah, he's kind of, in Vitalik's opinion, out of the game. I can see that. Charlie Shrem. So he was actually one of the early Bitcoin brokers, I guess. He would like sell Bitcoin. There's actually anyway, he used to sell Bitcoin back then. It was like he was doing some shady stuff, and he actually became a felon, back when he was like under 30. So a lot of these guys, because they were in early, they actually got in a lot of trouble. And so he created a bunch of like places where you could actually buy Bitcoin. BitInstant, which at the time accounted for roughly 30% of all Bitcoin transactions. Wow. that's pretty cool. Anyway, he went to prison. I think he was in some documentaries or something. But yeah, so apparently Vitalik says he's not really a player anymore. And truthfully, I haven't really heard him come out with much stuff anyway. Roger Ver. So I remember this guy. I actually got to see him in Europe somewhere. Yeah, I went with my wife and we we were on this cruise and Roger Ver was there and he was presenting and it was really interesting. Anyway, I also used to listen to him back in the day on YouTube, and he used to give these speeches about freedom, and he was one of the early people in Bitcoin. He actually, he's no longer an American citizen. He lives in St. Kitts, and he's just all about freedom. He's actually like a really nice guy. I think he's still relevant, but he actually, he forked away from Bitcoin. So this is when these cryptocurrencies can kind of split into two communities, and he started Bitcoin Cash, which he thinks is the original Bitcoin. And yeah, is he relevant? Yeah, I think he's still relevant, but in the world of DeFi, not really, because he's more of like, let's push Bitcoin for business, right? And that's what he's been really devoted to, but cool guy. Craig Wright. Okay. He is one of the most controversial guys in Bitcoin because he claims that he's Satoshi Nakamoto, and he's been on, in lawsuits all across America. I think he's in Britain. He was in Australia. I don't know, but he actually also forked Bitcoin and he created Bitcoin SV. So Satoshi's vision, because he claims he's Satoshi Nakamoto. He still hasn't proven that he has the keys to actually move any of the coins, but I don't know. Maybe he'll figure it out. So who's next? Brad Garlinghouse. Okay. So, well, actually these three in a row, Brad Garlinghouse, Chris Larson, and Jeb McCaleb. So these are the XRP guys. So they came out 2016, 2017. They were supposed to be like the banking coin. Started off being called Ripple. They changed it to XRP. They had like a nonprofit that made a coin called Stellar Lumens. And they just got hacked for like over $100 million on the XRP exchange. So I don't know, guys. All I know is that I never really got into XRP. I know XRP holders are like some of the most committed crypto people in the world, but sorry guys, I can't get into it. All right, Dan Larimer. So this guy, he was actually part of the team that made Ethereum, but he split off and made a platform called EOS. They raised like over $4 billion. Yeah, EOS went nowhere. So it was a total bust. Yeah, he's irrelevant. Charlie Lee. Okay, so I also met this guy before, and I actually met his brother in Las Vegas at a show. So anyway, these guys, they started what they termed, so if Bitcoin is gold, these guys made the silver to Bitcoin's gold called Litecoin. But yeah, that's irrelevant. Nobody really cares about Charlie Lee anymore. Plus, he like totally sold all of his coins and dumped it on his community. So whatever. Okay, Do Kwon. So this guy, he made Terra. Yeah, he created Terraform Labs. Terra Luna, I think, was his coin. Anyway, I used to own some. Hot tip, if you ever see a coin that has like version 2, something happened with version 1 and it's a big problem. And that's one of the challenges of DeFi is like once you create it, it's supposed to be immutable. So the only way to fix something is to take the existing coin, copy paste it into a new coin where you have fixed it. Okay. So anyway, yeah, he's irrelevant and I think in jail. Okay. Suzu, 3 Arrows Capital. Okay. So that was a hedge fund, went under. And that's kind of the same with this bank, Sam Bankman-Fried guy. He was the FTX guy. I think all of you guys know who that is. It was one of the biggest, bankruptcies. Now, here's what's interesting, and I really don't like these guys for it because in the end, the lawyers and the accountants and the politicians basically won out of this entire debacle. But Sam Bankman-Fried, so he's in prison, but the entity FTX is saying they're going to pay people back, but they're paying them back at like prices back when Bitcoin was like $16,000. Like if you had a Bitcoin in FTX at the time, it was worth 16,000, but now it's worth like 43,000, but they're only going to pay you back in the amount of the time of the bankruptcy or the hack or whatever happened. So yeah, it sucks, but that's why is what we say in DeFi, not your coins, not your keys, not your coins. So if you kept it on an exchange, sorry. All right, Sam Trabucco. Oh yeah, he was with Alameda Research. So they were basically tied together with Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. That was their research sort of trading investment. I don't know. It was kind of a weird situation they had with a bunch of corporations. But Jesse Powell. Okay, that's actually an R&B singer. But who's the crypto one? Kraken. All right. So he's an exchange owner. I've used Kraken before. Andre Cronje. Okay, so this guy, so back when, this was 2019, DeFi was like so hot and I was getting into all these different, so here's what was hot at the time. The idea of a smart contract came out and there was something called DeFi Summer. So Uniswap, which was a decentralized exchange. So you know how like, let's see, Suzu and Sam Bankman-Fried and these other guys, like they have exchanges. These are centralized exchanges. They're basically like trading platforms, like, that you would just go to your bank and you'd go buy stocks with. But decentralized exchanges are really different in the sense that you can do this peer-to-peer. You don't actually need an entity to own everything. And then collectively, you as the users can pool your money in and be market makers. So this was right around the time when DeFi Summer was going on. And every time Andre launched a coin, we all got into it. And this dude rug pulled all of us constantly. But he did make some pretty cool stuff. Like Urine Finance, for example. And what you really realize is that you got to go through these like challenging situations and failures to really find the innovations that stick. And once the smart contract, you were able to like burn the admin keys so that nobody could change the code after you burned it. Yeah, that was a big deal because DeFi just kept getting better from there. And now it's like the standard is no admin keys. The standard is audits. The standard is like peer-to-peer. And it just kept getting better. But yeah, he was a big deal back then, but he's pretty irrelevant now. Plan B, I mentioned this in the previous video. Their data model, their stock to flow data model for Bitcoin, where they basically have the colors and the halvening and everything. This kind of stuff, I think it still is relevant, to be honest, but like maybe Plan B itself is, as the developer who created it, I don't know. I still use it. I still think it's useful. If anything, it tells you what other people are thinking, right? And then the next is Michael Novogratz. So this is, let's see. Yeah, the CEO of Galaxy. Yeah, he's pretty, he just has an interesting podcast. He hypes up Bitcoin, nothing crazy. And then Kathy Wood with ARK Invest. Yep, she's pretty kind of irrelevant when it comes to DeFi. So I get where he's coming from. I like this list. I think it's a good list. And so what I'm going to do is just kind of cut it here, but I will be going through in the next video the characters that are still main characters in DeFi, still main characters in crypto. And this is where I would focus all my time and research to look for opportunity, okay? Because I can already recognize some names here, and I think this is going to be good. So hope you guys enjoy that video. Like and subscribe. hit me up in the comments if you have any questions or you have anything that I should talk about or look into. Again, it's the DeFi Dentist, and I'll see you next time.